Hi, this is Kyle with Music as a Verb, and today I'm going to try to convince you to spend your holiday season jazzing. So jazz is kind of famously hard to get into, but Christmastime offers the perfect opportunity to get into it. And Christmas music is kind of a perfect introduction to all of the things that make jazz great. Specifically, there are three things.
Improvisation, yeah!
Traditional jazz is based around a canon of songs known as standards. So when they play a song, it's typically understood that everyone kind of already knows the tune. So they play that tune once, called the head, and then they proceed to improvise and create music over the structure of that song. Now, these improvisations can be awesome, but they're really only satisfying or interesting insofar as they relate to the structure of that song that you already know. They can go from really simple variations of the melody of the song all the way to amazingly complex solos. But the bottom line is that the performer isn't just playing anything they want. They're creating spontaneously within the parameters of the song. But there's a problem here. If the music they're creating is only satisfying insofar as it relates to the structure of that song you already know, and that's what I'm claiming, what if you don't know the song? One solution to this problem would be to find jazz artists that are playing modern songs that you already know, and there are a bunch of cool examples of this. Bill Frisell has an incredible album where he plays, writes, and improvises all to the themes of famous movies. These are scores you would definitely recognize. The Bad Pluses version of Smells Like Teen Spirit is probably the record that introduced me to the idea that jazz artists were even doing this, and it is unbelievably cool. Then I have to give a shout out to my personal favorite guitar player, Julian Lage, whose last album has the coolest version of Love Hurts, and it completely accomplishes everything that I'm going to talk about here. But these are the exception. And this to me is what makes jazz so inaccessible to so many people. If you're not really familiar with this canon of songs that everyone is playing and writing and improvising over, then everything they're playing just kind of sounds random, especially if the songs are complex harmonically, and so many of them are. So you might be able to see where I'm going with this. Christmas offers us a large canon of songs that we are all intimately familiar with. Because we're so familiar with these songs, we are primed to understand and appreciate the improvisations that jazz musicians play over them. And there is no shortage of great jazz musicians playing Christmas tunes. A lot of our standard Christmas music comes from an era of jazz songwriting anyway. In fact, some of them are even inside that canon of standards that I was talking about earlier. So jazz musicians have been recording and releasing Christmas music basically since it was all originally released. So in a jazz Christmas song, after they play the head, which is the tune that you already know by heart, when they improvise, you're going to be able to keep that melody in your head and anticipate where the music is going. And this gives power and like a musical weight to what all the musicians are playing. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to play the melody to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and then right afterwards, I'm going to improvise over the same chords and structure of that song. See if you can keep the melody of Rudolph going through your head while I improvise. See if you can anticipate where the music's gonna go. You're a part of this experience as the listener. Music is a verb. Seriously, your expectations define how you perceive my playing, and my improvisations only really make sense as you relate them to that song that's going on inside your head. Could you hear how that was still Rudolph even when I was playing something completely different? Now, instead of listening to me do that so that my video doesn't have a copyright tag, you should go listen to Kenny Burrell do it instead. His amazing Christmas album is on the Spotify playlist I made for this video. It's linked in the description.
Reharmonization, yeah!
Because you've heard Christmas songs so many times before, you are also primed to appreciate when an artist changes the harmony, melody, or structure of that song. Obviously, if an artist changes a song you've never heard before, it means nothing. I mean, you wouldn't even notice. But one of my favorite parts of finding a new Christmas album is noticing how an artist adapts and interprets a song that I've heard 1,000,000 times and already have a framework for in my mind. Take a listen to one of my favorite examples. This is how the Eddie Higgins Trio plays Deck the Hall on their album Christmas Songs. Come on! They change the harmony, they use this cool descending bass line, they slow it way down, they use cool instrumentation, it's piano, drums, and bowed upright bass, and all of those things, while they're really cool, are really only made interesting by the fact that I've been hearing Deck the Hall since the day I was born, and yet I've never heard it interpreted that way. Cool arrangements and reharmonization are all over jazz Christmas albums. In fact, they're kind of a hallmark of them. If you're going to record a song that's been recorded literally thousands of times before, then you're going to try to put your own stamp on it. And you're probably going to try to make it an authentic artistic expression, even though it's a song everyone's heard before, while you do it. Some of my favorite Christmas albums are ones that really push the boundaries of what these songs even are. Albums like Christmas Sounds by the Ramsey Lewis Trio, or Peace Round by the Yellow Jackets, or in a big way, Jingle All the Way by Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. A lot of these examples take the songs in such a new direction that they actually bring me to my third and final point.
Composition, yeah.
I'm a music teacher. And one of the challenges when you're trying to teach kids, or anyone for that matter, how to have musical thoughts and how to express them, is that it's incredibly difficult to assess what's happening inside someone's mind. How do I know that you're understanding a piece of music that you're hearing? I can ask you questions about it, but this introduces a host of other factors into the equation. Like, what if you don't have the vocabulary to describe what it is that you're hearing and understanding, even if you are hearing and understanding it? Furthermore, even if you do have the vocabulary, if you have it, how do I know that your answers aren't just guesses? One brilliant way around this conundrum is to ask you to continue an idea that I give you. This is actually a really common strategy to check for comprehension in young readers. If I start a story, can you tell me how it might end? Does your ending make any sense? Similarly, I can pose a musical idea with no ending to my students, even as young as 4 or 5. Then I can check for comprehension by seeing how they choose to end the idea that I gave them. Do they match my tonality? Do they match my key? Do they match my tempo? Do they match all of those things? Do they match none of those things? All of these answers give me information about what it is they're hearing inside their head. This is my wife's book of reading strategies, developed by renowned literacy expert Jennifer Saravallo. In it, she suggests that you have students write from inside the story, taking in all of the context and understanding of the story so far to create new material that fits like a glove into the existing structure. Applying this to music is a really advanced thing to do, but it's exactly what so many jazz artists are doing when they interpret Christmas songs. Sometimes the songs are taken in such radically new directions that brand new material needs to be written that kind of fits right along with the melodies and rhythms of the classic. What if Jingle Bells had a bridge? What if Deck the Hall had a B section? Jazz composers routinely try to answer these questions on their Christmas albums, and I think it's such a cool thing to hear, because you, we, the listener, gets to be the judge. We get to decide, does it fit the song? Does it make sense? Does it feel like they just kind of dropped the new material in and it doesn't belong in that track? We get to decide, and it influences how we appreciate and understand the music. Honestly, both the reharmonization aspect and the new composition aspect can both be found in contemporary non-jazz covers of Christmas songs too. Modern artists like Pentatonics are constantly recording really fresh and interesting new arrangements of these songs that hit the tenets of what I'm talking about. You just won't find the improvisation. And it's my favorite part. Most of all, I get wrapped up in the idea that Christmas music gives us a kind of common musical legacy and repertoire and musical vocabulary that really brings us all together. There just aren't that many songs anymore, for a variety of reasons, that you can sit down at a piano, start playing, and be guaranteed that every single person knows it. But at Christmas time, almost the exact opposite is true. And I think that's something worth celebrating. If you want to listen to any of the music that I've mentioned in this video, check out the Spotify playlist that I linked in the description. Also, leave me a comment and let me know what your favorite Christmas albums are, either jazz or non-jazz. If you like videos like this, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.